You are smart, accomplished, deeply trusted, and yet may feel like you fall short. You may not feel good enough as a doctor mom, even after years of training, sacrifice, and success. Especially if the bar keeps moving, right? Especially if you're tired of meeting others' expectations. I'm joined by Dr. Anna Tanase, board certified in pediatrics and integrative medicine, and a mom of three who brings clarity and compassion to this idea of enough. At one point, she says, women often spread themselves thin to please everyone, and usually the first thing to disappear is themselves. We talk about invisible labor and why so many women are quietly reimagining how they can practice medicine and how they can live. This conversation is about trust, stepping out of the box, and remembering something simple and radical. You are already enough. Find the full transcript at inspiredmomMDs.com/89. Hello and welcome. You're listening to the Inspired Mom MDs podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Cindy Van Prague. I help physician moms take back control of their time and energy so they can prioritize what matters most and thrive at work and at home. In each episode, I bring you honest conversations, inspiring stories, and practical strategies, including interviews with incredible women who are redefining success on their own terms. Let's listen in. I am here with a special guest today, and I'm going to give you a brief introduction before we dive into questions. You're going to love her. Her name is Dr. Anna Tanase. She is both a mother of three boys and a physician who has dedicated her career to caring for kids and supporting families in a more holistic way. She's a board-certified pediatrician and integrative medicine doctor with extra training in mind-body medicine, functional medicine, and integrative psychiatry. Alongside her clinical work at Tucson Medical Center, she also teaches and mentors future doctors, sharing her passion for whole person care. What really drives her is the belief that health is about creating joy through nourishing food and rest and sunlight and meaningful relationships, not just managing disease. She trusts the body's natural wisdom and encourages families to make informed choices and sees herself as a guide, while parents remain the captain of their own ships. She likes to build community for other integrative providers by coordinating local meetings for like-minded providers because she knows that together we learn and grow and model the kind of relationships that help shape a brighter future for our children and our planet. She is here to explore what it means to be good enough as a female professional, as a parent, a spouse, and a community member. Welcome, Dr. Tanase.
Thank you, Cindy. Appreciate all you do, and thank you for this invitation to do this together.
Oh, you're so welcome. And I'm excited to talk to you about this topic, which is a little deep about being good enough. But before we dive into the heavier item, I wanted to ask you something a little lighter, and that would be about your family. You're a mom of three boys, and I'm kind of curious what their ages are, but also what is something that they have taught you recently that's kind of surprised you?
So my boys are 11, 13, and 21. And this generation of children is very good at challenging authority. They don't want to conform to the norms. They even make their own language, their own expression, like, I have aura, you're cooking. Probably parents will understand. Maybe they heard this before. That does not make my parenting job any easier, but I do love the courage to say no of what it is and the initiative to create a new world of their own.
I hear that. My youngest is 17, but you have a 21-year-old too. But I agree. They are so self-sufficient. I love that they are very outspoken about mental health too.
Yeah.
And that they're willing to talk about these things that we never talked about as a kid. So I love that. I love that difference in them. I want to shift into a theme that comes up for so many women physicians, and that is the question of being enough. And this idea of not enough shows up everywhere, right? Recently, a friend commented that when she looks at social media, this happened a couple years ago. She would scroll and see other physicians like just doing it all and assume that she was somehow lacking because she was looking at these pictures on social media and she did not feel enough. That's what I see. What patterns do you see in women physicians when it comes to comparison, especially against others, or maybe just an ideal?
Yeah, I will just start with myself because, probably
Okay.
that's the most experience you have to. So many
Yeah.
people probably even go into this profession because they think they're not good enough. And this is one of the profession that gets you respect, make you look like a hard worker, like a hero sometimes. So after, you go through all that hard work, you get to, you get the MD degree and says, oh, I'm just at the beginning of this mountain. You still have to climb to the top. You still have to reach to, climb the ladder of academic career, seniority, administration. So you're still not good enough. So
Mm,
you started, but there's still more to go. The other thing that I see harder for women than in men are these structures and where we work in, because most of these structure are set up by men because they were the one filling these positions for a long time. And it's not to dismiss of their uh, profession or what men can do and achieve, but just because they were the first one that was the chief of the clinic, the professor, the director of the hospital, the CEO of a pharmaceutical company, they have set up those roles to suit them well, and then the women has to follow in this pattern that are already created. So
mm,
in a way, this is unfair.
mm. Yes. So first, comparing yourself to yourself. Like I need to show a bar that I've met to prove that I'm good enough, which, and that bar keeps moving the higher up you go in your
Exactly.
education. But also it's interesting that I was thinking comparing, to other women, which is what my friend was saying, but you're talking about, wow, now women physicians are comparing themselves against structures that are already set up, which are not fair. And so therefore, if I'm getting what you're saying right, you're comparing yourself to something that's just not equal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The target it's set up on, different mindset or different
Mm,
relationships. So yeah, women do a good job of caring, use their intuition in this profession, collaborating. But this striving and competition is not a feminine characteristic, and I guess you can progress without it in this career. Do adapt into a competitive environment in academia, in hospital, just because this is the rule of the game.
yeah.
But this comes with a price. You have to prove yourself, and this is sometimes pretty damaging to a career. So, actually, in the Buddhist philosophy, non striving is a virtue, but this is not what we're
No,
doing.
it's the
So,
opposite.
yes,
Yeah.
it's the opposite. So, non striving means to non attachment to the outcomes, but we do attach with all the outcomes. If the outcomes are bad, you're the blame to it. So,
Mm.
this is the environment that we have to survive.
So, where might be that healthy line of ambition? Because ambition is a good thing, I would think, but also non striving is good too. Where do you find that line?
Yeah, ambition and perseverance in your plan is helpful to the
Mhm.
degree that you want to accomplish of that vision of the future you, of who you want to be, like that ideal of who you want to be, not who others want you to be. So if you attach to that ideal, then yes, there is a path to go to it, and nothing is
Okay.
impossible. Like women have proved it, they can be in every profession. But what I see mostly is then there is a balance between what you do to please yourself and then the pressure from the outside. And a
Mm,
lot of time the balance is tilted with the more pressure from the outside, more pressure to see more patient, more pressure to make more
mhm,
money, to move towards the ladder of achievement. And
mhm,
yeah, this pressure does come with the price of stress, burnout, sacrifices, personal life versus family, profession. So, yeah, it is a fine line.
got it. Okay. But yeah, healthy ambition will get you started, but don't succumb to the external pressures. So Speaking of men and women, I'd like to talk about the different expectations that, which might be a little bit of what you're alluding to, that women bear in medicine versus men. For example, if you look at a job description for, let's say, an anesthesiologist, because I am one, and it's just that it's a job description. This is what's expected of you. But when a man or a woman fills the role, once they fill that role and start, there will be a different set of expectations that aren't listed on the paper for the woman, in my opinion. From your perspective, how do these unspoken expectations that differ between men and women, how do they really show up for women,
Mhm.
especially when they're carrying such a heavy load with their family and their home life?
Yeah. So usually the women's role in a, let's say, in a traditional society were more centered about being the nurturer, being the caretaker, being the homemakers, being the support system for the men. In a secular society, as it now, when we say there's equal opportunity for education, for participation in public life, for employment, women most often have continued those traditional roles and added the new ones. So as a result, the plate is fuller and women tend to spread themselves thin to please everyone. This shift in gender role has also given men an opportunity to step up and help the female in their life. And I see that a lot of men are doing a really good job of it. But this is not the norm. So, still female expected to do the traditional plus the new upgrade. We do have metrics in medicine, and those metrics are things you can quantify. As we have talked to before, like there's not enough hours in a day to do it all, to do your paid work and your unpaid work at home as a woman. And usually the thing that goes off the list first is the self-care. Women usually work to bring joy and help other people around, but themselves are the lowest priority. I see, moms with newborn babies, with a new family. So their needs are the lowest priority.
Mm.
So that leads sometimes to a spiral of anxiety, depression. I give you my example when my kids were born. The first one, I lived in Romania. I was a resident doctor and I could take 2 years of maternity leave with 80% of the pay that I had in the last year. So, of course, I chose to stay home with my children. When I had my second and third child, I was in US. I finished residency. I had a job in a private practice. So many women, you can take the most would be 2 months after baby's born with an FMLA and no pay. And then after 2 months, you go back to work, you pump at work, you wake up in the night. So a lot of people have done it all and expect to strive and progress in your career and do it all. But, there's a price to pay. So that shows that different countries or different system, how they value women and mothers in general, and how they try to help families and women.
Oh, absolutely. And then you lived through two different experiences of having 2 years off and for your newborn versus the United States, where you had to cram in all that quality time in 2 months. You mentioned pumping and going back to work, and that reminds me of way back when. So my kids are 17 and 18 now, but I had to fight as a woman physician and I shouldn't say fight. I had to just request, and my group was fantastic. I was in a private practice MD group. They were really accommodating, but it was still difficult to accommodate me to get separate time to go pump. So I would have to get out of the OR as an anesthesiologist, find a private room. Inevitably, the door wouldn't lock, so people would bust in. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but now I hear that women going back to work are wearing pumps. And I
Mhm.
don't know if this is a preference to pump and continue working and not have a private time and space, or is this an expectation that you just keep going and you're expected to just push everything aside and get the work done, see the patients? What do you think about that? And women today going back to work so soon and just even on this issue of pumping?
I mean, I have mothers that work as nurses, and me as a physician, maybe I was lucky because I had a private room where I can pump. I was sharing the room with a male, but he said, "Okay, I'll leave you alone."
Okay.
But this patient I have, the moms are nurses, and he said, "Oh, I don't get a break. I wear my pump 8 hours, 10 hours. I go home, I feed my babies, I
Mm.
pump in the night, I get up and start all over again." Most of the guidelines recommend the breastfeeding for at least 6 months. Some women choose to do a year, some women choose to go beyond that. But it is taxing on your body there's lack of connection, like an
Yeah.
automatic pump to do it for you. And there's a sound, it's a background
Yeah.
that everybody around you hears. So
Sure.
we have not structured this environment to be easier for women to do that. The
Mhm.
most ideal case would be a woman that goes to work and in the break time she runs home to feed her baby, or someone brings the baby to her to
Mhm.
work. And now with the COVID upgrade, there's more jobs that people do from home. So that helps a lot of moms to parent and have a job and breastfeed during a meeting and do it all.
That's true. The jobs that are, yes. So, yeah, very interesting how things have changed even in the past 17 years since I've been a mom. You and I spoke in a previous discussion, and you mentioned the idea that women and men work differently, not in their ability, but in their approach problems. And I'd love to explore that. So basically, you made a powerful distinction in that men tend to work from point A to point B, whereas women may have point A to B to C. Women work through a process. Can you explain that a little more in depth for us?
Yeah. And these are, let's say, pattern archetypes. Is not that it's a rule that is set in stone, but the male mind or thinking is more towards outcomes. The female mind is more about the process, so the journey, how to get to outcomes. For example, a man said, "Oh, I need to work on physical exercise. I need to improve it," but does not really want or have the joy in doing that. So to have a motivation for that, let's say he signs up for a marathon. So this is something really palpable. I need to train for that. Now I can make a routine. I can get step 8 to 3. That's the goal and that's the expectation. Women, let's say I need to work on workouts, but let's say I don't particularly like it. Maybe she'll join a Zumba class, a dance class, meet with a friend, do something, add something to this process, but tries to make the process enjoyable, not to reach in that aspect. We usually use this in processes that we make decisions and how we function in society, but the women mostly worry about how this gonna happen, not necessarily I have to reach this goal.
How do you think this shows up as a physician? Would there be a difference in male physicians versus female physicians and how they approach problems at work, and maybe even the time they need to help a patient with a problem? Is there a difference?
Yeah, the way that our like clinics are set, or like the hospital, or what are their set expectations that what we have to do. Our expectation is we go in a room, we have to make a diagnosis, have an RVU, be on time, make the patient happy, and be satisfied, and that's it. So this works in a metric system, but there is no room for connection there. If you want to build a relationship, it's not that standardized from A to B. And if you want to enjoy what you're doing. So as long as your schedule is full and you're generating RVUs, it's like a factory work, you're okay, you're meeting your metrics. But the metrics for self-satisfaction, it's not there. There is some metrics sometimes for patient satisfaction, but that's why so many women got
Mhm.
tired of this assembly line style of work and go into concierge medicine or direct primary care or start their own practice where you can customize your patient load, how much time you want to spend with patients.
Mm.
Some people have started integrative medicine fellowship just to start thinking outside the box. And I was surprised in my training, there were people that were retiring. And I said, why are they starting to learn something new now? Because they won't use it for their patients, but they use it as a self-care tool for their own. So in primary care, maybe it's easier to step out of the system. If you are a surgeon, it's really hard to make your own hospital. You have to work part of a system. So some women decide to just do part-time, not full-time, so they can work with their family too. But yeah, these are sometimes difficult decisions to juggle.
I love how you say work outside the box. So the box was not necessarily created by women.
No.
And so maybe start creating our own box and not exclusive to women, but a different box, one where people have the time and energy to connect with their patients. And like you said, there are metrics for patients too, and the patient feedback, as we know from women physicians, is more impressive than for male physicians because women, like you said, are more into building relationships and spend more time with them. And so, if we can create this new box where you actually have time to connect with the patient, and maybe that is concierge medicine. I don't know the answer exactly, but I think women are starting to do that. And
Yeah.
yes, let's break the box. Let's find a new one. Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned the integrative medicine, that integrative side of your work today. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do today? I'd love to hear about your practice.
So right now, I work in corporate medicine. I work in outpatient clinic of a hospital where I'm a salaried employee. I work on RVUs. So the only thing I do different, I do primary care and integrative medicine consults. And I can have extended time, but the most extended time I get maybe is 40 minutes. Rarely could be 50 minutes. So a lot of time I use my own time that I need to spend, more with patients to explain what things I'm trying to do, what tests I'm trying to achieve, how their body work, what are the things we can customized to help their body work better. But a lot of time it's education and it's the connection and the talking, whether it's education or trying to move them to the next step in the readiness process. It's this part of talking is part of medicine that we don't see it as such. We try to adjust in the system, but yeah, sometimes it becomes chaotic and people get upset because the next patient has to wait because I'm not done with talking.
Mm-hmm.
It's a compromise. So if you ask me about how my ideal clinic should look like,
There you go. This is how it is.
would not be a building without windows like I work in
Okay.
now.
Got it. Yeah.
It would be probably like a tiny cabin on a farm with windows, of course, and a toilet, of course. But I will have some raised beds outside. I could talk to the patient like taking a walk on a path outside. I could take, this is your medicine. This plant is good for this. You can make a tea out of it. You can say, this is the sunlight. It's part of your treatment. You could do group classes or group meetings. Either most people struggle with the same thing. So you're just repeating the same thing in different settings. The group itself is therapeutic because it's showing the patient they're not alone struggling with X, Y, and Z. So yeah, there are tools, but incorporating all this into corporate medicine, the first question is it going to bring me money? What's the bottom line and how expensive it is?
I love your ideal setting as a cabinet. Well, in Japan, they actually prescribe forest bathing, and it's a real thing. So it can be implemented.
Yeah.
So maybe if we look to other countries and how they have brought some of these really important aspects into their healthcare, maybe we can not reinvent the wheel. Maybe we can incorporate some of their ideas into our system.
Yeah. Yeah, those people work in, 8-hour cubicle, but they do get an hour break at lunch and they walk in the forest because they're very organized and can respect deadlines. In Europe, their 1 hour lunch is to go out with friends and have lunch and eat somewhere nice. So it's still connection is a different type of getting out of the box. But I don't want to be in a box anymore. I just want to Move the box somewhere else.
Exactly. And I'm sure you are not alone in that sentiment.
I know. We have to have a vision. We can't live without it.
Right. Your vision is going to stick with me. Just being able to, can you imagine being able to just walk with a patient on a beautiful path in the sun and have the consult right there?
Yeah.
Even if it's 5 minutes, just get
Yeah.
outside, walk around oh
I
my
can
goodness.
ask the same
Beautiful.
question walking than sitting.
Very true. And that would be good for your health too.
Yeah.
So in closing, what is one message you want women physicians to hold on to this week?
So I would say just take a moment to look at yourself, look at all the things you've achieved so far, all the lives you touch, all the support you gave to other people, and just say, I am enough. Make space for yourself and give yourself time to breathe, play, step back. Self-care is not selfish. It's if your cup is full, you can give more to others. But you have to start with where you are now. You are enough.
Beautifully said. Thank you.
Thank you, Sydney.
Yes. How can we contact you?
I guess everything's online now.
Okay.
So you can probably Google my name and find where I work. And I think I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram.
Okay. I can put links to those places in the show notes so people can click that. And your name is spelled Anna, Anatanase.
Exactly.
For your last name, in case someone's listening and trying to remember driving. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Sydney. I appreciate all you do for all these women.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you for tuning in today to Inspired Mom MDs. If this episode resonates with you, please share with a friend who may benefit too. And I humbly ask you to please leave a review so other Dr. Moms can find me too. And just a quick reminder, this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and isn't a substitute for medical advice or care. I'm a board-certified physician, but this content isn't connected to my clinical practice and no doctor-patient relationship is formed here. Please always talk to your own health professional about any mental or physical health concerns. Please see inspiredmommds.com for full disclaimer.